Just two dudes having a conversation. You're my friend and I trust you.
Someday I'm gonna move,
But not today.
waiting for you.
Out by this lake.
Welcome back, everybody, to the You're My Friend and I Trust You podcast.
That's what this is?
That's what this is, yes. And you may be listening to us on Back Row Radio. If so, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Or
What's
you-
up, Back Row Radio people?
You may be hearing us on maybe your podcast app on your iPhone via
Or-
the Apple iTunes store.
Yes. Or maybe on the podcast app on a regular phone, on an Android phone.
That's right. Or through Podbean,
Maybe through Podbean or through iTunes.
iTunes. Yep.
We're not on some things.
We used to be on SoundCloud.
That's all this episode is going to be, is just us telling you where to find us and where not to find us.
YouTube?
No.
No.
I'm thinking about putting us on YouTube, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get some of that monetization money.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
We keep saying, though, that we would do a video one at some point, which really, it'd be pretty boring. I mean, we literally just sit across from each other and stare into each other's eyes while we talk.
We never once break eye contact. So every episode that you've ever listened to us, it's always been intense eye contact.
That's right.
Just tears strolling down our faces because neither one of us dares blink.
Our contacts have dried to our eyeballs.
Contacts are the worst.
They really are.
Oh my gosh. My dad just got LASIK.
Yeah.
And he's a little unhappy with it because the doctor's like, it'll be 2020.
Yeah.
And then it took like 2 weeks before his left eye like got to 2020 and his right eye is still not 2020. It's about what it was with his contacts, which weren't great. So he's a little upset about that, but they can go in there and like touch it up.
That's what I was wondering if they...
Yeah. Do you know how LASIK works? It's crazy, man.
Shoot laser beams into your eyeballs, right?
Yeah, but you know how they do it? Okay, so they look at your...
Is
you
it
go
a
in...
gun? Because that'd be sweet.
I actually don't know what it looks like. I
Okay.
just know of how they do it.
Okay.
So they look at your eye, and like there's if you were looking at an eyeball from the side like this, like if this eyeball's looking this way,
He's holding his fist.
as if it were an eyeball.
Yeah.
Right. So this part of it right here, there's a clear layer. Right. You're looking that way. So that clear layer is shaped in a way that either you have 20/20 vision or not.
Right.
So what they do is they like measure your eyeball and see, okay, you're this far away from 20/20. So they shoot a laser in from the side and then lift up that clear filament, I guess, in front of your pupil. So it creates like a little flap, and that laser shaves down until you're 20/20, and then it puts that flap back down.
So, is there something literally holding your eyeball then?
It just holds it open.
Oh.
I don't know like the logistics of how they do it, but that's what they do.
Do they knock you out?
No, you're awake.
What?
Yeah, you're awake the whole time. And this is what was weird. You can either pay like $800 an eye, or you can pay $1,500 an eye. The $800 an eye, it's on you to keep your eye still. So
What?
you have to like look straight up and not like move your eye.
What?
Because if you move your eye, it won't do it just right, and then it'll be kind of messed up.
How is that even an option?
I know, right? It's old technology, but the new technology, the 1500 an eye, it digitally tracks the movement of your eye, so you can move your eye just as long as you don't move it dramatically. But you can like move your eye, and it'll still do it perfectly.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did your dad just hold his eyeballs open, or?
No, they put those little like clamps on your eyes that hold them open.
Yeah.
They numb them like crazy, you know.
Yeah.
And I think they might dilate you too. But so just like numb your eye, clamp your eyes open, you know, and then just shoot a laser in there. And he said it took like maybe a minute.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Did he do the digital one or the other one?
Yeah, he got the more expensive one.
See, I probably would have just paid for the more expensive one.
Yeah, and it that also comes up, or that comes with a free like touch up, I guess, after 6 months. So if you're not perfect like my dad, that right eye still hasn't come around yet. If that's not perfect in 6 months, he gets a free touch up where he goes in and they fix that.
So what's the like recovery on that? Like
it's outpatient. So what it is you get the surgery, and then the rest of that day you're not really supposed to look at a TV or a screen, or really just be around light. So they give you some sleep medication to help you fall asleep, because it's just best if you just
go sleep.
Yeah. And then I think all of the next day you can't look at a screen or really do anything too taxing on your eyes, like going out and mowing the yard in the bright sunlight wouldn't be the best decision. But you wake up the next day and you're good.
Really?
Like, so you get the surgery, you go to bed, and you wake up and you're good. And you don't have to put your glasses on, you don't have to put your contacts in. He said that part alone was worth it.
So I wonder, is that something that like HSA accounts cover?
Health insurance?
Like, yes and no. So like, do you know anything about HSAs? Mm-mm. So like, I have health insurance, and then I also have an HSA account.
Okay.
So basically, my work, it's a high deductible, but my work contributes, and I can contribute X amount if I want to. But like, I don't know, let's just say $100 a month they put into this HSA account. The money's pre-taxed. Like, so it's not taxed. But from that, you can only pay for qualified medical expenses. So, like, how I have it set up is I have enough in there to cover my deductible. So that way I never have to worry about that. But some things are covered. But, like, I pay for my contacts out of my HSA account. So if I was, like, I don't know. I feel like it should be covered. It probably isn't. But
I don't know, because I know that my dad paid out of pocket.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I also, though, think that you should be able to pay for gym memberships out of that, because
it's like a health thing.
To me, it would be less expensive for insurance companies to pay for a gym membership than pay for basically like preventative care, than pay for a open heart surgery.
Right. Right.
But what do I know?
I also had a consultation done for LASIK.
Yeah.
But I'm like right at the right at the youngest age that they will do it, because apparently your eyes are still kind of shaping and growing until you're 26. Yeah, there you go. My dad says it's life-changing, man.
Getting some laser beam shot in my eyes.
He said just waking up and opening his eyes and being able to see everything was worth it.
Man, that'd be crazy.
I think about that all the time. Like, what if somebody breaks into my house at night? Right now, I don't know where my glasses are.
My glasses. So going back to the last episode, this is where your fear of being blind comes from.
Yeah, definitely. Probably, yeah. Because I'm just so blind without my contacts or glasses. Like, sitting right here, 3 feet away from you at a table, you'd be completely blurry.
Wow.
Completely blurry.
You are pretty bad.
If I had just met you, like yesterday, if you were to show me 3 people one day, and then put me in the same room with those 3 people the next day, but I don't have my contacts in, I couldn't tell you who they were.
Wow.
They would just be blobs, being this distance away from you, fuzzy little blobs. So if somebody breaks into my house, I'm just completely defenseless.
Yeah.
Do
you remember? Because unless some babies get glasses, but most of the time, like, you hit a certain age and they take you to the eye doctor and they're like, oh, you actually need glasses.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first time you put either glasses on or contacts and actually saw things?
Yeah. I got glasses first, and it was just like I would lift them up and be like, what? So for probably a month, I was just taking my glasses off and comparing.
I would literally just go and stare at trees.
Yeah,
and
me too.
Leaves. I was like, You can like see all the individual leaves on a tree.
Yeah.
Like before, I just like. But the thing is, I didn't know any different.
Yeah, it was just blurry, and that's what your reality was.
Yeah.
I remember when I remember very specifically or very clearly being in the eye doctor's place, and they have like that little area where they have like all those test glasses and stuff where you figure out what you want. We were waiting at one of those tables, and then they brought me out my glasses, and I had already gone through all that stuff. They were just giving me the glasses, and I put them on, and I looked out the window, and I remember seeing birds on the ground, and like actually seeing the birds, and that image is burned in my mind.
Yeah,
because it just blew me away. Yeah, I was like, holy cow.
So how old were you, and like why did you go to the eye doctor?
I think that was 5th grade when I did that, and I think it was because I was just squinting all the time. My parents kind of noticed, like looking at road signs or whatever, or anything far away, I would just be kind of squinting. Yeah. And both my parents need glasses. My sister doesn't. I don't know what the heck she got blessed with, but she has perfect 20/20. Yeah. My parents, my dad especially, is blind as a bat. I'm blind as a bat. My mom's pretty blind. But yeah, and because of that. Also, I think baseball too. I think it was because of baseball. My batting sucked.
I started sucking at baseball. Yeah. And my dad, he would take me to the batting cages, couldn't figure it out. And I think he just got frustrated. He's like, I'm going to take you to the eye doctor. Yeah. And sure enough, I just couldn't see the ball. I don't suck, Dad. I just can't see it.
Yeah, but I think that's probably one of the contributing factors was baseball.
When you go to get your license, do you tell them that you're wearing contacts?
Yeah, don't you have to?
I've always wondered that. They ask. Yeah. But how do they know?
Well, why would you lie to them?
So you don't have a restriction on your license?
You get a restriction on your license?
Yeah, like if you pull out your license, I don't have my license on me.
I got mine on me. I'm going to pull it out here.
You should have on the back a restriction.
Okay, so this is my driver's license. Restrictions. B, corrective lenses.
Yeah. So if you got in an accident or something and somehow they figured out that you didn't have your contacts in, you insurance probably wouldn't pay for anything and whatnot.
Look at how much of a creeper I look in this.
You do look like a creeper.
I got my hair slicked back. I look like I just murdered a whole bunch of kids or something. Not going to touch that one? Nope. You really shied away from that one. I know what I said. I knew the risk when I went into that joke. Oh, man.
Speaking of people getting up in arms about things.
Sure.
Which, that's probably a valid one to get up in arms about. Have you heard anything about this new Colin Kaepernick stuff?
Yeah, I've been seeing.
Are you burning your Nikes?
No, I'm wearing Nikes right now, actually. That's so dumb, man. That's so stupid.
The thing is yeah.
I saw a dude on Twitter. He went to Nike's online, whatever, their online store, and put in an order for I think 6,500 pairs of Nikes, and he took a screenshot of it. I don't know if he actually did it. Yeah, probably not. Most likely not. But he took a screenshot of it and tweeted it. It was like, I'm going to take all of these and have them sent to a landfill.
It's that's why
people didn't get the joke,
right? Who already have Nikes.
Mm-hmm. What is it?
You've already supported the company if you don't want to support them. Yeah. So my thing is if you have them and you don't want them anymore, don't burn them, donate them.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. People online are like, hey, I have an orphanage of 250 kids that could really use that stuff.
Right.
Man.
And it's.
I saw a really good tweet. Instead of burning those shoes, how about giving them to the homeless veterans that your government doesn't support?
Yeah, I did see that one too.
Burn.
Yeah. Because, you can. How I've always explained that whole situation is I honestly think that him being able to protest police brutality, which is what he was protesting, him being able to do that is what makes this country great.
Right.
Whether I agree with it or not. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't agree with police brutality. I don't. No one really should.
Yeah.
And I probably wouldn't protest that way, like during the national anthem. I probably wouldn't. But, I mean, the ability to, without any repercussion, from our government.
Yeah.
Because there's governments in the world who will kill you if you stand against them.
Saudi Arabia just made parody online illegal, and you can be sentenced up to 3 years for it.
Yeah. And so, and the fact that if you go back to the original, when he started doing it, he like went and talked to his friend who's a Green Beret and asked him, this is what I want to do. What's the least disrespectful way I can do it? And the guy said, go out there, just take a knee. Like it's not that don't do anything else, just take a knee.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's just such a stupid thing for people to get upset about.
Well, what I think it is the people who are upset about it aren't upset about that.
Yeah, I think it's a different thing.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it, too, is racism.
Yeah.
Because Colin Kaepernick.
He's... I don't remember what he is, but...
He's not Caucasian.
Yeah, he's not.
And that's the whole thing.
Right.
I don't know. I don't have too much of an opinion on this other than the fact that I just think that I just don't understand the hate that he gets and that kneeling gets. Like, I understand, yes, it's the anthem, and yes, people fought and died for it, but you see all the stuff online of soldiers, Marines, Army people, military vets saying this is exactly what we fought for.
Exactly. So you could do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's not protesting us. He's protesting this other thing.
Right.
And I think that kneeling during the national anthem, I think that's a great time to do it. Because look at all the attention that it got him. It got him a ton of flack.
Yeah.
And a ton of hate.
And cost him, his NFL career.
Right.
Which, actually, I don't know if he's currently like in a lawsuit against the NFL owners for collusion. And he's winning, actually. So like he's won multiple steps in the case where they're proving that the owners came together and did not want to employ him. Yeah.
But like all the people saying, well, do that, but do it at another time. Don't do it during our national anthem. Well, you wouldn't have listened if he'd have done it any other time.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, I probably wouldn't do that during that time. But I'm not gonna rail somebody for doing it then.
Yeah. Like you said, that's all about what makes America great. And if you want that, if you were to take somebody that's angry with Kaepernick, take away their right to speech, they're going to go, almost cussed. Not, they're going to go crazy about it. Right. They're going to go crazy over that. They're going to freak out.
Yep.
So why can they speak and he can't? Yeah. What makes what anybody has to say more valuable than what another person has to say?
Right. Yep. And that's what, also people were talking about, people being upset with Nike now for running all these ads, not buying Nike stuff. Okay, but if you're going to be upset about that, just talking in terms of clothing apparel, because Nike's makes clothes. So you go and you buy your stuff from Walmart or something. Source back to where these clothes have been made. Talk about something you should be upset about. Is child labor, sweatshop. Because that's what it all goes back to. Yeah. And so you're going to be mad at Nike for taking a stand, which again, you don't have to agree with it. That's not what I'm saying. Like, you don't have to, I don't know. You can disagree with it and still be okay with them doing it.
Yeah.
Is my thing.
It was ridiculous.
Recognize that it's actually a good thing that it's allowed to be, that's allowed to happen in our country.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you're living in a repressed, country.
Yeah.
So, again, disagree with it if you want, but I guess you can't disagree with his ability to do it.
Yeah.
if that
Freedom
makes
of
sense.
speech.
Yeah.
That's what I think this all comes down to is he has freedom of speech. He has the freedom to do that.
Right.
I think it's hilarious that people are cutting the Nike swooshes off of their socks.
Socks.
What are you going to do? Just walk around with saggy socks?
Right. Saggy socks are the worst.
You're still wearing Nike socks. They just don't have the swoosh on them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody's an idiot, man.
Yeah.
I have zero faith in humanity right now. I need something to restore my faith in humanity. There's just been too much crap. Freaking yodel kid to...
You really hate the yodel kid.
I really do. I'd love to interview him.
Yeah.
I'd love to get him on here just to pick his brain. I think it's just so vacant. What can he know? He's 8.
Yeah, I just think that whoever is the guardian of him, because I think it's his grandparents, but
Yeah.
just, man, you gotta really protect a kid.
Yeah.
And
They're not doing that.
Yeah, like you're almost exposing him.
Yeah. As I've said before on this podcast, that kid is going to be burnt up in a couple years. That this is going to really destroy his life.
Yeah.
I mean, he's making a lot of money, sure.
Yeah.
Check back in with him in 5 years. He's going to be destroyed.
Along those lines, did you see, I was on Twitter, somebody tweeted a picture of one of the old Cosby actors. He was working as a bagger at Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
And like kind of, it came off as like shaming him for, oh, look at how far he's fallen. Now he's working at Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
That really bugged me.
I saw a lot of support for that.
Yeah.
After that, it was like a news piece on it. Or some, what do you even call that? Like magazine or whatever.
Yeah.
Like wrote an article about it. But all I've seen is support for that. Yeah. Like he's providing for himself and for his family, and you got to work. You can't just not work.
Like you should never be shaming someone for what job they're doing.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And like someone else pointed, he's like, he's still like, I mean, he still does like Shakespeare plays and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's probably not going to pay the bills.
Right.
You know? Yeah. Or maybe he just likes doing it. Maybe he really likes interacting with people.
Yeah. I think I read something about him where he was talking about just work in general and how it's very beneficial to the human psyche and
right. It gives you
all that stuff.
Yeah.
It gives you a sense of purpose and
yeah. It really bugged me. Like I was like, oh yeah, like that's our society. Like
it's just people looking for something.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, because I think about that from time to time of like actors that don't pursue that anymore. And you think of, or like musicians, and you think of like, man, you were on top once and now you're just nothing. So that would go back to one of our other episodes of talking about what you put your self-worth in. Do you put your self-worth in your job?
And my thing too is, you know, the people who were, you know, like you said, like you were on top and now look at you. At least they took a shot on something.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like that's more than I've done.
Yeah.
So
I've been thinking a lot about taking chances and just taking risks, just kind of taking leaps on stuff. They did that.
Yeah.
That takes guts.
Yeah.
That takes moxie.
Yep.
And they did it. So.
And they're probably better people for it.
Like, for sure.
You know, even if they are now bagging groceries at Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
I would much rather sit down and talk with that guy versus the reporter that wrote that article, because he's going to have so much more knowledge about life and probably be in a much better headspace.
Yeah.
And just a much more enjoyable person to be around than that person.
So, all of our 20 listeners,
Yeah.
don't shame somebody for the job they're doing.
Yeah. I like Daniel Day-Lewis, if you know who that actor is. He was Lincoln in Lincoln. He was the oil man in There Will Be Blood. Fantastic actor. And like an extremely deep method actor. But he will only do like a couple movies every couple years.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of downtime for him where he's not working or where he's preparing for a role. Like I think he prepared for 1.5 years for There Will Be Blood.
Yeah.
And the way he'll prepare for roles, I think for one of his roles, he learned how to make shoes. He just like found like a person that does like the old, like traditional style of making leather shoes, you know? And he was like apprenticed him for like 1 year or 2. He's learned how to do that. He was in the movie Gangs of New York, and his character was Bill the Butcher. So he was like a gang leader, but also like grew up being a butcher. So he would butcher stuff from time to time in the movie. And he worked at a butchery.
Wow.
For like 1 year.
Yeah.
Learning how to cut meat, how to kill a pig, what all the good like shanks were, and how to get all the good quality meat out of a carcass.
That'd be so, like, imagine just all the life experience you have because of that.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And he's in a pretty privileged spot to be able to do that, to be like, I'm going to go do this for 1 year. I'm going to go do this for 1 year. I think about that. Like, I've done a lot of different stuff for money, for jobs, and that sounded bad.
yeah, I really did.
Whoops. I've done a lot of different stuff as a job. You know, I've landscaped. Yeah. I've been a plumber. I've worked in a recording studio. I've done, I guess, not like a super wide variety of stuff, but that stuff, like each thing that I did, I learned a little bit about whatever that trade was. Right. Learned a little bit about life via what I was doing or the people I was working with, and I learned about myself. You know, and I don't know. I think about just staying in one thing forever. I don't know if I like it. Even like I want to pursue engineering again. But I don't know if I want to stay in that for forever.
Right. Nah, I totally understand that.
You know, because I just think you get like kind of trapped and stuck in that one little element of life, and you get too comfortable in what you build around you. And then you just kind of get blind to what's outside of your immediate perspective and the world that you live in. You know? And the world that you live in can be very, very big or very, very small. Yeah. Depending on what you do and who you are.
It's very true.
So I don't know. I want to experience a lot of the world. I want to travel. I want to meet people. I want to gain experience. I just went to Michigan with my girlfriend because she bought me a scratch-off map. And every time you go to a state, you scratch it off. So we want to do eventually all of it together. Yeah. So it's only like a 2.5 hour drive to Michigan. So after church on Sunday, we drove to Michigan and we drove back. And I love that traveling. I love traveling so much. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I want to get stuck in one thing.
Totally understand that.
I don't even know if you would call it like getting stuck, because I guess it's up to you if you get stuck in what you do. Right. You know, I think you could do one thing but not get stuck. You know what I mean? And not feel stuck. Right. I just don't know how to pursue that. You know? Yeah. I'm still figuring that out.
Figuring a lot of things out.
Yeah.
I haven't figured a lot of things out too.
Yeah. Yeah. Every time I figure it, I'll see like something big that I am figuring out, like I'll be in the process of figuring out. I'm gonna be like, oh, this is gonna be massive for me and for my life and for everything. And then I'll figure that thing out. And then it's like cresting a hill, and you're like, oh, there's a bigger hill. So I'll figure this one thing that seems so massive out, and then you're like, oh no, look at all. There's this other big thing that I got to figure out. Right. Now, you know. Right. Yeah. And I'm convinced that'll just be never ending.
I think that's life, though.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think it would be boring if that did ever end. You know.
Yeah. It's kind of like, you know, people wonder why Like, why don't we just know what God knows? Mm-hmm. What would you do?
Right. It's like out of struggle and out of pain comes healing and comes growth, you know? So if everything was just there for us and we knew everything, where would any growth be?
Right.
You know?
Right.
It seems like, how do I say this without seeming a little sacrilegious? It just seems to me like there's purpose in that, in the struggle of life. Mm-hmm. You know? And I understand, like, God created everything perfect to begin with, and he gave us the Garden of Eden, and it was perfect there. But I'm kind of forming this thought as I talk, as I tend to do.
Yeah.
So if I seem a little slow, or if I'm pausing, I'm sorry, but I'm thinking. I guess, though, Adam and Eve have the purpose of naming everything and tending to the garden, you know? But we don't have that now.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm just on a massive quest for purpose, I guess. And I guess when we die, then our purpose will be to worship God and just to be with Jesus. And that's fantastic. That's great. I can't wait for that to be my purpose instead of...
Isn't that your purpose now?
I guess it would be, yeah. But, I mean, I still got to do something.
Yeah.
Like, I can't just... you're backing me into a corner. I don't know if I like it. Should you just become like a monk? Or not like a monk, but should everybody be a preacher and just give their life to God? I think it's possible. Or I don't think that I should be a preacher.
Yeah.
Knowing myself,
Yeah.
I don't think that I would be good at that. Mm-hmm. I'm not a people person in that way.
But sorry, I cut you off.
Go ahead.
I don't know that. I think sometimes when people say, like, you know, I guess, like, if you don't look at it in terms of full-time ministry, I'm trying to formulate this thought here. Mm-hmm. In that, like you said, I don't feel like you shouldn't be a preacher. And so what's your purpose?
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's still that. Mm-hmm. But it's that just whatever you do.
Sure.
You know? Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts in my head, and I can't formulate any of them right now.
I've gone through that as well, of being in an environment and working in whatever, but being a light in that environment, you know? And I try to be that. When I worked in Pittsburgh, I had a buddy who was agnostic, I guess you would call it. Some of the best, hands down, some of the best conversations of my life was with this person.
Yeah.
One of the smartest dudes I knew. And he used to, I hope he won't mind me saying this, but he used to drop acid back in the day. And very, very interesting to talk to, because his mind was just kind of opened up on a frequency that mine was not, you know? So I learned a lot, again, not to get deep or whatever, but I learned a whole lot about life and about myself and about just the world from this guy, you know, in conversation with him. But we would always have fantastic conversations about God, him coming from an agnostic and sometimes kind of an atheistic, I guess, approach, because he would kind of go back and forth of like, I'm feeling it, where there could be something today or the next day. Like, I don't think there is anything. So, but we would have a conversation where I would talk about my beliefs and you would talk about his. But the way that in the conversation that we desired to have was just as completely open as we could be. And, you know, like when you're just talking for hours and then it's like 2 a.m. and you're just getting into that super deep conversation, we both just strived and thrived off of that really deep conversation. So we would always try to push it to the next level. And we would always go into every conversation of, I'm not judging you at all. I just want to have a conversation and learn about you and where you're coming from. Yeah. If I had to say what my skill set was of sharing the gospel and sharing God with somebody, it would be like that. I just don't feel right, and I've done this before, but I just don't feel right pushing religion.
Right.
And I'm not even, actually, I take that back. I'm not even going to say religion, because religion sucks, and I don't want to be affiliated with religion. I want to be affiliated with God and Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
Or following Christ. That's what I want to be affiliated with, because I think that's a whole other thing. I think the word religion has been polluted in today's environment. But I'm not one to like sit down with somebody and say, this is why you need to believe in God. This is why I do. I'm just one to say, this is why I believe in God. Let's have a conversation about it and tell me what you believe.
Right.
I don't know if that helped him. I don't know if I planted any seeds or anything. But I don't know. I guess that's just how I operate more, you know?
Yeah.
That kind of varied from what that started off as. It started off as like purpose, and finding God and purpose, or
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That's fair.
Yeah. I need to text him. It's been a couple months. Don't let relationships fall away, guys.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about it, like, you know, how we were talking about, like, if we knew everything, if we knew everything that God knew, what would you do? I think us not knowing everything plays into our relationships too. Like, that points back to that. Because, like, if I knew everything you knew, what would we talk about?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, what would we build? Like,
What would the point of conversation be?
right. And, like, you think about even, like, in a job, you get trained by somebody because you don't know how to do something.
Right.
And usually the person training you, like in a new job, is like the person, like, not always, because sometimes you just don't get along with them, but like then as you kind of get comfortable or whatever, like that's the person you kind of rely on whenever you have questions, because you've built that relationship because they taught you something.
Yeah.
And so I think God knows what he's doing, but I think that also plays into why we don't know everything.
Right.
Because he wants us to have a relationship with him, but he also wants us to have a relationship with each other.
Right.
And if we knew everything, I don't know, I feel like relationships would be pretty boring.
Yeah. There'd be no point of talking.
Yeah.
And if we both knew everything, then we would have the same opinions and
Right, because we would know for fact of things.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, even take two people that are extremely knowledgeable in their field of expertise, whatever that may be. Say you have two bricklayers, and both of them been doing it for years, and they, quotations, know everything there is to know about it. There's still differences there, and they could still sit down and have a conversation about bricklaying where there might be disagreements and there might be agreements. And well, how do you go about your craft, and how do you go about yours? Oh, that's a little different than me. That's interesting.
Yeah.
You know?
And one might think that the way they do it is the right way.
Right.
And that's the way you should do it. And in reality, we don't know what the right way is, but there probably is a right way for everything. Like, if you think about it.
They could both be doing it the right way.
Could, yeah. Or
Even though they're both doing it two separate ways and two different ways, it's still the right way.
Yeah.
Because it works.
Or the best, I guess I should have said the best way.
I gotcha.
So, like...
Yeah, the most efficient, most effective way.
Yeah, which, in reality, there is one way, I think, how to do everything that is
maximum efficiency, maximum effectiveness.
Right.
Yeah.
But we would probably differ on how, like, what that is.
Yeah.
But we don't know what the right way is.
Right.
So
we talk to each other in the struggle to try to find that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if we knew what the right way was, we would just do it. And
yeah.
Why discuss it?
Yeah. That's what's so great about audio engineering to me. And I'm sure that somebody else doing something different could experience the same level of fascination with whatever they're doing. But for me, because I geek out on that stuff, it's audio engineering. So sitting down with other people that do that, talking about, like, well, what mic do you use on this guitar cab, or when you mic drums, what kind of method do you use for the overhead technique, and how are you miking your overheads, how are you miking your kick, what are you using, down to, like, the mixing process of, like, what are you using there, what plugins are you using, what outboard gear are you using, all that. all that crazy stuff. And there's so much to it, but all that stuff I could just geek out about. And there's really no right way to do it, because depending on who you're talking to, because there's just so many different opinions on how to do one thing, you know? And what's cool is everybody's ears are a little bit different.
Right.
So I might like this microphone on this vocalist, and I think it sounds fantastic, and that's the only mic that I would ever go with. But somebody else might say, I think this microphone is the best, you know?
Right.
And I don't know, it's just a never-ending kind of pot of stuff that you can just reach your hand into and pull out, and there's something new every time, you know? But I really like that, and I like that struggle to get better and know more, and the creative struggle that goes along with that, which is why I think I want to start pursuing that again.
Yeah.
Because I've been, for a year and a half now, not challenged creatively at all by what I do. And from working in the studio in Pittsburgh, being creatively challenged, to working in a factory and not feeling any sort of challenge, I guess, creatively in my life. The thought of going to something that moving on from this factory to something else that also doesn't challenge me creatively just kind of sucks, and I don't like to think about that. So I think having worked that job before, that studio job, I think I'd kind of just desire that, and I need that in my life, you know?
Yeah.
Just like everybody has that thing that challenges them, and they just get a buzz from, you know? Like you do music as well. And I know that you like being a part of that environment, and it's a challenging, like, especially being a worship minister, it's a challenging thing to be.
Yeah.
You know, you're dealing with people and stuff, but at the core of it, it's the music. And I know that there's been challenges along the way, but I know that they've also been rewarding. I've seen those rewards play out in your life. So, but sorry. I'm just going off on rants.
This is kind of the ranting episode.
Yeah.
We've ranted a lot.
We did. On our way to Michigan, I probably talked for a good hour about the music industry.
Yeah.
Because Emily started off, she asked me because we were talking about, I forget how we got on this, but she was like, do you think the Illuminati is in the music industry? And surprisingly, I said no.
Yeah?
Yeah. I don't think, that would be a whole nother podcast. We literally cannot, we don't have the time today to get into that.
Yeah.
But that was like an hour rant that I probably went on, and it turned into like a whole bunch of different like side roads of like how record companies are screwing artists now, and they kind of always have been. But
you know what's funny? It's like I do the exact same thing, but with wrestling history. Like I don't watch anything that's like wrestling now. I don't know anything that's going on.
Yeah.
Don't really care about it.
Yeah.
But it's all the like the wrestling era in like the 90s, 80s, and early 2000s that I just find fascinating. And I've noticed myself overtelling stories to Allie that she probably does not care about.
Yeah.
But like my brother went to a wrestling show this past weekend in Chicago, and like it wasn't WWE, it was like an independent thing. And so she was asking about that. So then I went into the whole like history of the territories back in the set, like from whenever to like the 70s and 80s, then WWE. And like I went, before I knew it, I was talking for an hour and a half about this stuff. I was like, I didn't even realize I like
you knew that much.
Yeah. Because I don't consider myself like a huge wrestling fan. I think what it is I like history, like just kind of in general. Like I find myself just reading Wikipedia a lot. Like of just like
the most reputable source.
Right. Yeah. But like, and then within whatever I'm reading about, there'll be something that pops up. I'm like, I wonder what that was about.
Sure. Yeah.
And then it's almost like a YouTube hole.
Did you like history in high school?
I loved history.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I've heard of people that they enjoy that or they don't enjoy it in high school, like science, math, whatever, history. But then they get out of high school and they're like, oh my gosh, I think a lot of that is how they were being taught and who was teaching.
Yeah, I don't really like. This is gonna sound really bad. I don't really like anything except for American history. But
Yeah.
and that's not because like I hate everything but American.
Yeah.
It's just I guess it's more real in my mind because I live here.
Yeah.
Like as opposed to like ancient Greek
Yeah.
history.
You're kind of rooted in it a little bit more.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yep.
Have you ever watched a drunk history?
Yeah.
I love that so much. If you don't know what drunk history is, look it up on YouTube right now.
Unless you're at work.
Yeah. They curse in it. So it's NSFW, not safe for work because they curse. But also, we don't want to get you in trouble.
Back row radio, you just don't even look that up.
We're not talking to you right now, back row radio. Talking to everybody else. All the heathens that listen to us.
Yeah.
But this person will, the way they do it is they give a person like a script of like, let's say Harriet Tubman or whatever. And they give her like, or they give whoever reads about Harriet Tubman a couple pages about like her background and her life. And then they get that person just drunk, just plastered, not super plastered to the point where they can't stand up, but they get them drunk and then they have them, tell the story of Harriet Tubman. And then they have actors act out this person talking. So this person is overdubbing the scenes. So you just need to look it up. It's hilarious.
Yes.
It's so funny. And people like Will Ferrell have been on it as actors.
John C. Reilly's on it.
John C. Reilly, yeah. So huge props to that. Also, we'll say this and maybe wrap it up.
Okay.
Because we're getting onto our time limit
Yeah,
that
we are.
we've imposed on ourselves. But there's a YouTube thing called First We Feast, or Hot Ones, actually.
Oh, yeah. The hot wing.
Yeah, where this dude interviews celebrities and then they eat hot wings together, like a rack of like 10 hot wings, and they start with just like a Tabasco sauce and work their way up to like the most hottest sauce that exists. And it's super cool. I really like that format because like whatever face that actor's putting on, it strips it away. And you just, when you're suffering in pain and also answering questions about yourself, just your mouth is on fire.
Yep.
There's just lava spewing out of you. You can't put up any false persona.
Yeah.
It's just who you are comes out in that moment. I think it's very interesting.
Yeah. I enjoy watching those.
Jeff Goldblum was just on there.
Really?
He's so funny. He's just so like, what's the word that I'm looking for? Shoot. Oh, man, I can't think of the word. Gosh dang it. It's such a good word too. I'm not gonna be able to think of it because now I'm under pressure and I'm trying to think of it. I don't know. He's just very expressive and
Yeah.
he's just in a world of his own. That
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum. He's so great. Well, since we plugged another show that isn't ours,
Right? We should probably plug our contact info. Brian,
you out there? You listening,
is
Brian
like-
from Ireland?
6 weeks now. We haven't heard from you.
Brian, are you out there?
Please don't be a bot.
You know what I just watched?
What?
Frozen. I had never seen it.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Dude, it lives up to the
Really?
hype. It's so good, man.
Do you like Moana?
Yeah, I love Moana.
So is it better than Moana? Because I've seen Moana.
That's a good question. To compare Frozen to Moana. This is where we're going to get all our flack from. All the stuff that we talked about earlier with the whole Nike thing.
That's right.
This is the stuff that people are going to hate us the most
Rating Moana and Frozen.
for. Yeah, I think... I've seen Moana more, so I remember more of Moana. Moana's really good. Plus, it has The Rock in it. I love The
That's
Rock.
true.
But Frozen... If I had to pick one to watch, just right now, I would watch Moana.
Okay.
I think the rewatchability is better, at least for me, because there's no like love aspect to it. Like with Frozen, there's like a prince,
like a love
and
story.
There's a love story, and I mean, I don't want to be like a cisgendered white male, but it's interesting to watch, but it doesn't really. If I had the choice to watch that or something else, I would watch something else. But Moana, there is not that, and it's just one girl struggling to be the best that she can be, and go out into the world.
Yeah.
But that being said, Frozen, holy cow, what a movie! That's all I gotta say.
So check it out, Frozen.
Another thing that we plug that is not us. Is there anything else that I want to plug? No, go ahead.
You guys should really contact us because
we have no idea if anybody listens to us.
We really don't.
We have the statistics for everything except back row.
Yeah.
So anybody from back row, please hit us up on Twitter at My Friend Podcast.
Yeah. We just want to hear you. Or you can email us at itrustyoupodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah. And we're on the Back Row Radio app. We're on iTunes, Podbean, the podcast app.
We're very reachable.
Yeah. Reach out to us.
Yeah.
We want to know what you have to say. If you want to be a guest on the podcast, hit us up.
That's right.
Maybe we'll have you on.
Brian,
oh, dude.
If you actually
hit us up, Brian, we'll Skype you in.
Yes. We will wake up whatever time you need to wake up in Ireland. We'll make it work on our end.
Will you actually do that?
I will do it.
Would you stay up till like 2 a.m?
To talk to Brian from Ireland? Yes.
Okay. All right. I'd do it.
Yeah.
I'd do it in a heartbeat.
So, Brian, don't go breaking our hearts here.
Don't go breaking my Brian heart.
Just two dudes having a conversation. You're my friend and I trust you.